All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into one of cybersecurity's biggest, well, nightmares, really, the zero-day threat. So what is it, and what makes it so incredibly dangerous? Let's get into it.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, let's start with an analogy. Imagine your house. You've locked everything up tight. Windows, doors, the works. You've even installed one of those fancy new digital locks on the front door. You're feeling pretty secure, right? I mean, what could go wrong?
Well, what if some hacker, just kind of messing around, discovers a secret trick? They find out that if you wave a simple magnet over that high-tech lock while typing in a special code, click, the door just opens. It's a flaw, a vulnerability that the manufacturer never ever knew about.
And that right there, that is the absolute essence of a zero-day vulnerability. Why 0 day? Well, it's because the manufacturer had exactly, 0 days warning. They had no time to fix the problem before someone found it and used it. All of a sudden, it's a race, a mad dash between the attackers who have the secret key and the defenders who are scrambling just to figure out what's going on.
Okay, so let's take that idea, that secret lock-picking trick, and apply it to the digital world. We're talking about software now, where these hidden flaws don't just open one door, they can have massive, global consequences.
So here's the key takeaway. A zero-day threat is an attack that uses a weakness, a vulnerability, that the good guys, the developers, literally don't know exists yet. It's the definition of an attack that comes out of the blue, hitting systems when they are at their most vulnerable, because nobody's even looking for it.
Now, it's really important to get two key terms straight here: vulnerability and exploit. Think of it this way. The vulnerability is the flaw itself. It's the crack in the castle wall that's maybe been there for years. The exploit, that's the battering ram the attacker builds specifically to smash through that crack. One's the weakness, the other's the weapon. This timeline here, it lays out the whole life cycle perfectly. You see, it starts with everyone in blissful ignorance. New software is out, everything's great. But then, a hacker finds a flaw. And this period right here, this gap between when the hacker finds it and when the software company and the public find out about it, that is the danger zone. That's the golden window for attackers to launch strikes in total secrecy against systems that have no defense whatsoever.
So for years, that's been the race, that gap in the timeline. But now, a terrifying new player has entered the game and is shrinking that window for defense down to almost nothing. And that player is artificial intelligence. Okay, so check this out. There are these public lists. They're called CVEs, and they're designed to help defenders. They describe security flaws in super technical detail so that people can build patches. It's a good thing, right? Well, here's the twist. A bad guy can now take that exact same helpful technical description and just feed it straight to an AI.
And you can probably guess what happens next. We all know these AI models can write code. Well, it turns out they're also getting scarily good at writing exploit code. So instead of needing to be some genius-level programmer, a hacker can just ask the AI, "Hey, can you build me a tool to attack this flaw?" And just like that, a public safety announcement gets turned into a ready-made weapon.
And this chart, wow, this shows just how big of a leap we're talking about. An experiment was run to test this exact thing. The older model, GPT 3.5, completely failed. It had a 0% success rate. It couldn't do it. But the next version, GPT 4, it succeeded an incredible 87% of the time. That is a staggering jump.
Yeah, just let that sink in for a second. 87%. That means an AI can take a public warning, something meant to help people, and turn it into a weapon almost instantly. That timeline we looked at, that gap, AI is shrinking it to practically zero. And that is a massive problem. And look, this is not just some theoretical what-if scenario. This is real. 0 days have been the cause of some of the biggest, most damaging cyber attacks we've ever seen. Let's look at a few infamous examples.
First on the list is probably one of the most famous, or maybe infamous, of all time, Stuxnet.
So Stuxnet was just on another level of sophistication. It actually used not one, but multiple zero-day flaws to attack industrial control systems. And what was its target? Nuclear centrifuges. This was a game changer because it proved that a purely digital attack could leap out of the computer and cause actual physical destruction in the real world. And the crazy part? It operated in the shadows, totally undiscovered for a long, long time.
All right, next up is an attack that I bet a lot of you remember hearing about, the ransomware nightmare known as WannaCry. WannaCry was all about speed and scale.
It just exploded across the globe. Using a zero-day flaw, it infected hundreds of thousands of computers in something like 150 countries, basically overnight. It crippled businesses, it shut down hospitals, all by locking away their data and demanding cash to get it back.
And these next two really show you the incredible range we're dealing with here. We're going from massive data breaches that affect pretty much the whole internet to super-targeted personal spyware.
So you had Heartbleed, which was a flaw in the very fabric of internet security in OpenSSL. It left passwords and secret keys just wide open on countless websites. And then you have something like Pegasus. This was a super sophisticated piece of spyware that used 0 days to worm its way onto the phones of specific people, journalists, activists, government officials. And once it was on there, it gave the attackers total control: microphone, camera, location, everything. It's a terrifying surveillance tool with a seriously chilling effect on things like free speech.
Okay, so after hearing all that, from industrial sabotage to spying on your phone, you have to be asking, what can we actually do about this? I mean, how in the world do you defend yourself against a threat you don't even know is there?
Well, the number one thing you can do is actually pretty simple. When a patch comes out, install it immediately. Don't wait. But what about that danger zone before the patch exists? That's where you have to fall back on core security principles. It's like building a fortress, right? You need defense in depth. That means multiple layers, not just one wall. You use the principle of least privilege, which just means nobody gets more access than they absolutely need. And you use network segmentation to build walls inside your fortress, so if one area gets breached, the attackers can't just run wild everywhere.
There are also some really powerful tools that can help, and they shift the focus a bit. Instead of just trying to prevent an attack, they focus on detecting it as it happens. Things like advanced antivirus and endpoint detection are always looking for suspicious behavior, even from threats nobody's ever seen before. And then you have the really heavy-duty stuff, like SIEM systems that give you a bird's-eye view of your whole network, and SOAR technology that can automate your response, letting you react at machine speed.
You know, in the end, it really comes down to this quote: information is power. And when you're dealing with a 0-day, you need all the power you can get. Staying educated, keeping things updated, and just being plugged into the security community. That knowledge, that awareness is one of the most powerful defenses you have. So the patch is coming. The question is, will it get there in time? This race against 0-day threats is never ending, and it really highlights a fundamental truth about our digital lives. Security isn't a product you buy or a box you check. It's not a set it and forget it kind of thing. It's a continuous, relentless process.